Before Steve Irwin, before Bear Grylls, there was Crocodile Dundee, the wild Aussie bushman who charmed the world with his Outback wisdom, massive knife, and devil-may-care smile. Released in 1986, Crocodile Dundee became the surprise global hit that made audiences fall in love with Australia. But behind the laughs, leather hat, and dusty boots lies a story full of unexpected twists. The film was inspired by a real outlaw, faced major Hollywood resistance, and even got involved with an international manhunt. But we're just scratching the surface, because here are the top 10 strange but true facts you won't believe about Crocodile Dundee. And trust me, it's not just the crocs that bite. Meet Rodney Ansell, an Australian cattleman who survived 56 days stranded in the Outback, drinking cow's blood to stay alive. Sound familiar? Paul Hogan, the actor and co-writer of Crocodile Dundee, was inspired by Ansell's story. But the connection ends there. Where Dundee was charming and adventurous, Ansell later became a recluse and tragically died in a police shootout. Hogan once said, "We took the bush hero idea and made him lovable. Real life isn't always like the movies." So the guy who gave us Crocodile Dundee, a real legend, but not the kind you'd invite to a barbecue. That's not a knife. That's a knife. You know it, you've quoted it, but did you know that iconic line almost didn't make it into the film? Executives thought it was too corny, too cartoonish, but Hogan fought for it. He believed the scene was pure Dundee, bold, funny, and just the right amount of ridiculous. Turns out, he was right. That single line became one of the most quoted in movie history. And yes, that knife was custom made, 15 inches of sharpened steel. Hogan was a TV comedian in Australia, famous for playing blue-collar blokes in sketch shows. He never planned to be a global movie star. He co-wrote Crocodile Dundee mostly as a passion project, but when the film exploded in America, Hogan found himself nominated for an Oscar and touring talk shows. The spotlight? Not his thing. He said in interviews that fame was a weird joke. Hogan turned down several Hollywood roles afterward, including one in Ghostbusters 2 because he didn't want to become an actor playing actors. When the film was released in Australia, it was full of Aussie slang and references. But when Paramount picked it up for US release, they were worried Americans wouldn't understand it. So they made an edited version, trimming jokes, changing dialogue, and even redubbing scenes. Lines like fair dinkum were swapped for no kiddin', and the word Sheila became girl. Two versions of Crocodile Dundee exist, one for Aussies, one for Americans. It's like cultural translation with a knife. Crocodile Dundee made over $328 million worldwide, more than Aliens, Ferris Bueller, and Top Gun. Wait, what? Yep, the little Australian film that could was second only to Top Gun at the box office that year. It was so successful that people started calling it the Croc Boom. Tourism to Australia skyrocketed. Americans wanted to visit the Outback. Leather hats and crocodile belts became fashion. It didn't just win the box office, it changed global perception of an entire country. In the film, reporter Sue falls for the rugged Dundee. Off-screen, same story. Linda Kozlovsky and Paul Hogan had real chemistry, and eventually a real relationship. There was just one problem. Hogan was married. After the film's success, he divorced his wife and married Kozlovsky in 1990. They stayed together for 23 years. It was one of those Hollywood love stories that started with a script and ended with tabloids. In the late 1980s, thanks to the film's popularity, crocodile sightings in Australia became front-page news. Problem was, tourists were getting too comfortable. They started trying to pose with wild crocs. Park rangers had to issue warnings. You are not Crocodile Dundee, stay in your car. In one case, a man tried to wrangle a crocodile with a belt and lost 2 fingers. Turns out movie magic doesn't work on reptiles. Believe it or not, someone tried to sue Hogan for the name Crocodile Dundee. A small-time writer claimed he pitched a story years earlier about a crocodile hunter. The lawsuit was eventually dropped, but it stirred the press. Hogan joked, "If I was gonna steal, I'd have stolen something better." Sometimes the bigger success, the more bizarre the drama. Yep, even Crocodile Dundee isn't safe from taxes. In the 2000s, Hogan was investigated by both the Australian Tax Office and the US IRS for alleged offshore accounts and unpaid royalties. He denied it all, saying, "I paid my taxes, now I just want to pay less." The investigation dragged on for years before finally being dropped, but it left a dent in Hogan's otherwise squeaky clean image. Turns out not even the Outback can protect you from accountants. In 2018, a mysterious trailer dropped online. Dundee, the son of a legend. It starred Danny McBride as Dundee's son and Chris Hemsworth as a slick Australian guide. Fans thought it was real, but it wasn't. It actually was an elaborate ad campaign for Australian tourism. Brilliant, hilarious, and totally fake. The ad went viral, and ironically people demanded a real sequel. Sometimes the best Dundee movie is the one that doesn't exist. Crocodile Dundee wasn't just a fish-out-of-water comedy, it was a global phenomenon. From Outback legends to knife fights in New York, it left a legacy that's as strange as it is unforgettable. So, tell me, which of these facts had you saying, "No way"? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to dive deeper into the weirdest corners of pop culture, hit that subscribe button. Because here at Real Truths, we believe the stranger the story, the better the legend.